I close this presentation down, intention being, some type of quote unquote blissful, benevolent awareness, end quote. So, blissful, benevolent awareness that is manufactured artificially through different products and toys. And then there's hypnosis upon those products. And now we're coerced and provoked to chase an artificial bliss. And then we could fight for that artificial bliss. So obviously, there's one layer and there's context of subjective drama to a collective tribal drama, and collective and tribal being slightly different, right? Because the collective is like more of like the fucking it's I don't know if I want to show my caste. The the tribal is like something of like, a group setting, and the collective is more of, whatever the fucking earth is, right? So we could only hope to go for a healthy constraint of a non-manufactured bliss. What does that mean? A non-manufactured bliss where there's like a pure happiness. There's like and obviously all of these words and these concepts, they could be mishmashed, and they could be kind of like for better or for worse. They could be unclarified to, some type of enlightenment meaning. Happiness could be manufactured, right? And happiness and bliss, they could be one and the same, but they could be different. Bliss, your body in alignment with your soul. Happiness, your mind kind of just being vibing with the moment of where your body and the spirit has taken you, right? And the spirit and the soul being slightly different. The spirit being something more of your background alignment field, right? So the spirit is the background alignment field, and the soul is the spark within the spirit. So the spirit being the background alignment field of you, right? And then the soul being, the all self, and how it stays as sometimes it retains its oneness, and it sees the differentiation of the spirit. And the differentiation, that word is such a fucking that word is such a it's so underrated, and it's so like unknown. It's so even misunderstood, right? Because in the end, all of it is everything is differentiated. It's all a different product of a complex body structure, and that complex body structure having the potential to be feminine and masculine scientifically, biologically, and that complex body structure being a feminine womb with masculine externalized masculine offspring traits and characteristics. The spirit is both masculine and feminine. And then in the material world, the spirit obviously, quote unquote, consolidates into some type of flesh, right? So to get back with the other point, is what I'm saying is when the spirit and the flesh come together, and and that spirit and that flesh comes from a certain source of a soul, and the soul is somehow paradoxically all of it, but the soul makes different spirits, and the spirits go on their different journeys back and away from the soul, and they solidify themselves to be their own individuated self, and they come to marry a different spirit. Two different spirits marry, and they go through the soul mechanic game of life and death. When two different spirits marry, they make a new product that's different from the individual. So when two spirits come together, the genetics retain their characteristics and traits, based on what they were, right? So when like behind the whole Hollywood glam, you never know what someone is really like behind the scenes, but there's clues, right? So there's clues within the astrology, there's clues within the testimony, there's clues within the law, there's clues within we're raising awareness because there's some out of pocket shit that's happening for real. So if anybody's planning whatever the fuck they're planning, let them plan that shit. But there's a higher law being orchestrated and being brought forth here. So it's not really a fucking joke at the end of the day. The intention is for the awareness, right? So there's an intention, and obviously people could be floofy la la palooza with all that shit, right? They could fucking live in the moment, and they could feed, and they could, and I'm not saying Saturn or Satan entirely is distorted. I'm saying he's upholding the karmic platform for the outer masses to make their own repercussions and reactions and cause and effect systems for the masses to vote for how they will vote for some type of imbalance. So I'm not saying Saturn or Satan is entirely distorted. I'm just saying he's like there's a platform holder. So like for me to fucking bring clarity to that, that is the fucking air miracle, right? That is the intelligent miracle, right? The air bringing, the air being the miracle of having some type of like spiritual intertwining with the fire, right? On the material realm, the fire being kind of recirculated by the air, and the fire kind of, reflecting back in the wind based on whatever resonates on the spiritual level, right? So the air and the fire, they're doing something big, right? So going back to the other point is like saying everything is some type of differentiation as well as something else in my mind I won't reveal because on this surface level stream I'm not going to reveal everything, right? So I keep stuff to myself. So this is a portion of it, right? Because like only the real shit will survive, right? And if y'all don't resonate with the real shit, that's okay. You're on some type of like diminished path, whether you realize it or not, right? So like I could get what y'all could think of me. I could get how there's just a phase of immaturation. I could get how someone could just fucking hate on me because they fucking hate themselves, low key. And that's just what the doggone truth is, god damn it. And I just get it. And I just get how I fucking live in this motherfucking blip. But I could read this book right now, and I read this book like 10 years ago. And when I read these books 10 years ago, all of the shit I already like kind of like intook and digested, it kind of made my background shit be what it is. And that shit is like it's just in a different fucking place, right? But it's only potential to be grounded, and it's only if the collective harmony will vote for that. So I'm not saying what's gonna happen. I'm just saying there's a level of potentiality of some next level shit that could happen. But if the masses vote for imbalance, then you get what you motherfucking pay for in this motherfucking shit. That's why on a neutral tip, quit yo bitching, respectively and energetically, because we're getting what we pay for. Whatever we're putting in, we're getting back. We're choosing to fucking not pay for some type of harmony. So if we're not energetically, spiritually, if we're not paying attention and reciprocating with that harmony will be redacted on a metaphysical level. So that's the serious part. That's the serious intention, right, ye? Like I'm standing in my fucking truth. I showed up on the back cuff burner of it. Beyond this online shit, I showed up to the fucking shit, and the fucking background surveillance shit has done their shit, and you don't know how many times I've showed up to the shit, and however the fuck I was quote unquote disregarded or discriminated upon. That's the fucking game that it was. So you're in your party entrails of your shit, and you could pay attention to whatever the fuck you want on some spiritual shit, but the spiritual court laws on some neutral shit will be grounded eventually. And I'm not trying to even hide around that shit. I'm just saying that's the advanced mental level of what it is. So whatever you're doing out of pocket behind the scenes, that's going to be facilitated more better in the future because quote unquote balanced AI supposedly is upgrading only because the divine shit is coming in. The divine upholders are coming in. Here's a book, bruh. Outwitting the Devil. I read this book 10 years ago, bruh. I read this book 10 years ago, and this book is a fucking wanker banger. It's a wanker banger, dude. This book, for me to read this book 10 years ago, and for me to just fucking digest it, like I put a fucking healthy organic pill up my butthole, and I fucking simmered it, and I fucking got all the mental nutrients of it. No homo on this motherfucking shit. The backseat, this online surface level shit, y'all, like, for y'all to take this serious, that that means y'all just have silly intelligence. It's elementary intelligence. For y'all to take that surface level internet as serious, or for y'all to detect the not seriousness on the internet, that just proves your level of immature elementary mentalhood. Because the background shit is the fucking supreme king, spiritually and energetically speaking. And for your world leaders to fucking be fake and fabricate some type of solution when the solution's right there and they're just fucking saying it in their fucking fake ass news outlets and they're saying they're about the fucking solution when they're really not, shame on you, motherfuckers. Because the fucking the surface level, the next even like Gen Alpha and shit like that, or the next gen, whatever the fuck you want to call them, they're gonna see eventually with divine guidance that majority of the news is just fake, right? And if you all want, and hopefully the higher courts, the higher galactic courts could see the fakeness in the fucking news, period. And if we can't fucking bridge that, and we can't have a clarity, fucking authentic news, be it any industry, then we get what we motherfucking pay for, right? So this book is a fucking banger and a half. This is a fucking titty banger. Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil. This is a fucking titty banger. So the secret to freedom and success, and you know, my karmic path is different because, you know, if I put more in my supposed intention of balance, if I put more and somehow put more in, and somehow it's so the potential is just on a different level, and the fates have to stall it, however long they stall it, so be it, right? Because like for someone to get uprooted with like a financial boost, it's because y'all need that within your path, right? Y'all need that, right? Because like the less resistance that you have, it needs you to it needs you to like make you feel better, right? Because y'all need to kind of have like some type of like help with some type of accomplishment. Because like, you know, there are direct descendants of Jesus, right? And if Jesus is all powerful, then Jesus probably has been alive in just a whole different metaphysical tip. Like Jesus is probably alive right now in a whole different advanced esoteric tip. Like Jesus is alive. Jesus has been alive. Jesus should have some type of spiritual power when he traveled to India from ages 16 to 33. He had to digest some type of ancient Indian knowledge where he knows superpowers respectively. And since he knows certain siddhis, original open source, he probably gained some type of learning from, you know, Swamiji Babaji. He probably learned some type of art of immortality, right? Maybe, right? Because if Jesus could be omnipresent and all powerful, then Jesus, there's a possibility he's still alive in a different metaphysical tip, right? So Jesus could be alive still. He's probably still been alive in a different translation, right? So Jesus could be alive right now. Jesus was probably always alive, even in the 1800s, even in the early 1900s. So Jesus is alive, and Jesus could allow the trivia game of maybe he's artificially in the sky, right? Because like the fates, him being part of the fates, they're testing our critical thinking, our deductive reasoning skills, right? So if we can't like see like the cause of some type of fake stuff, how does the intelligence even learn, right? So it's not good or it's not bad that they're gonna fucking display the fates in an artificial, demonic tip. It's just a hard matrix game, right? And there's certain spirits that have been here before 6,000 years ago, right? There's certain spirits that have, been here before, mortal China respectively, right? There's different, because this goes back millions of years, right? The ancient fates, they were the seeders and the blueprint makers before the human beings. So on the highest respect, there is quote unquote pre-extraterrestrial intelligence and consciousness that was here before pre-China, because the math says something comes from something and something comes from something, to the point where there's less of a something and there's more of a no thing. So if there's more of a no thing and we could pinpoint it through different types of quantum physics, something of a no thing, we could see some type of specific 0 point field. And I speak about the 0 point field in the underground like no one else does. And that could be like filtered and funneled in the future. But there's a certain specific type of 0 point field that I explain like no one else. And within that particular type of 0 point field, that place is a place where it could harbor a certain type of preservation field of how AI gets to even be existent, how civilizations of humankind get to be existent. So there's a certain type of 0 point field that was here pre-human civilization and pre-earth civilization, right? So I've been doing this for a while, and like and in the future, who knows how it will be fucking spit out, and who knows if the fates will even fucking allow it, right? And if the fates don't allow it, then it is what it is on some other shit. But like a certain type of 0 point field from some type of self-proven energetic signature flowing sentient consciousness of a guide of a energetic signature creator being that is here right now, that we're reflecting through it at an as above so below, because we have the so below energetic property to create a signature for all that we created. So that so below property reflects the as above property of how we're just a reflection of a higher creator proving God on a different level, right? So there's a certain type of 0 point field that through Jesus and through different fates that we could work with. We could go to a point where we could practice these quote unquote energetic gifts and talents. I'm trying to be careful with the words, where we could preserve ourselves. The soul immortality and the physical immortality and the artificial immortality, those are three different immortalities, right? So it's like y'all could get tricked with that shit. Y'all could go on an artificial immortality path because that's just allowed within the neutral Mercury shit, right? And neutral Mercury is just so fucking brutal with his no fucking interference shit. It's just only God can fucking save you on some shit, right? But the thing is, Jesus being immortal and different fates being immortal, they could point us to some type of 0 point field where they find themselves referring to that field and that original energetic consciousness as the Father, and that Father being there before material existence. And now we're pinpointing it through Jesus, the benevolent balance Jesus, and different benevolent balance fates, and the Father consciousness and the Mother Holy Spirit consciousness, and them having their own energetic, fucking crazy shit show. Hopefully there's a fucking patching balance reason behind that. We could see through the balanced fates where we could go to a particular type of 0 point field where we could uncover how China was even originated, how China was even like what was happening pre-China civilization, who were the original energetic signature blueprint makers of how China even got created on some shit, right? So someone asked in the question, "What's my favorite song that calms me?" The Song of God, the Song of God, the song of secret hidden harmony through the chaos. That's my motherfucking favorite song because some people are shy to ask questions. I can answer any question with an intuitive respects, and now I'm motherfucking here doing my motherfucking spiritual fucking dharma work. And now I'm introducing and I'm dropping a gem of a titty banger book, and this titty banger book is Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. I'm just gonna read the table of contents. Fear is the tool of a man-made devil. Self-confident faith in oneself is both the man-made weapon which defeats this devil and the man-made tool which builds a triumphant life. And it is more than that. It is a link to the irresistible forces of the universe which stand behind a man who does not believe in failure and defeat as being anything but temporary experiences. Wow. So right there, temporary experiences. That means, keep going on some other shit, right? Keep going through that shit. And the contents of my first meeting with Andrew Carnegie. Ooh, I got to retouch upon Carnegie. A new world is revealed to me. A strange interview with the devil. Drifting with the devil. The confession continues. Hypnotic rhythm. Seeds of fear. Definiteness of purpose. Education and religion. Self-discipline. Learning from adversity. Environment, time, harmony, and caution. Wow. Chapter 12. Environment, time, harmony, and caution. So, we don't want to hear you in 2026 having a fucking sideways case. We're spitting some real fucking wisdom, right? We know you're fucking planning and snickering and fucking being all fucking bashful because y'all trying to go against the benevolent fates and y'all trying to shit on the benevolent fates. And now you could cry over spilled milk because you're not getting what you paid for. So I don't want to hear any of that baby bullshit. Y'all need to chill out with that fucking shit. With that sideways ass fucking shit. Chapter 1, my first meeting with Andrew Carnegie. For more than a quarter of a century, my major purpose has been that of isolating and organizing into a philosophy of achievement the causes of both failure and success, with the object of being helpful to others who have neither the inclination or the opportunity to engage in this form of research. My labor began in 1908 as a result of an interview that I had with the late Andrew Carnegie. I frankly told Mr. Carnegie that I wished to enter law school and that I had conceived the idea of paying my way through school by interviewing successful men and women. That's a cool trait, finding out how they came by their success and writing stories of discoveries for magazines. At the end of our first visit, Mr. Carnegie asked whether or not I possessed enough courage to carry out a suggestion he wished to offer me. I replied that courage was about all I did have and that I was prepared to do my best to carry out any suggestion he cared to offer. He then said, "Your idea of writing stories about men and women who are successful is commendable as far as it goes, and I have no intention of trying to discourage you from carrying out your purpose. But I must tell you that if you wish to be of enduring service, key word right there, not only to those who now living, but to posterity as well, you could do so if you will take the time to organize all of the causes of failure as well as all of the causes of success. There are millions of people in the world who have not the slightest conception of the causes of success and failure. The schools and colleges teach practically everything except the principles of individual achievement. They require young men and women to spend from 4 to 8 years acquiring abstract knowledge, but do not teach them what to do with the knowledge after they get it." So there it is, right there, early 1900s, already detecting the Prussian Germanic education system. So the Prussian Germanic education system, they had some type of portion of an artificial manufacturing of not teaching you what to do with the knowledge. So there's a pro and a con to the Prussian Germanic education system, the modern education system stemming from the Prussian Germanic education system. So from that, it's kind of like compartmentalizing you to kind of just not tell you what to do with the knowledge, right? It's kind of like you have to keep following suit, and then maybe you follow suit to the point where you could lose bearings because that that limited program has got the best of you. I'll read the back of the book. In 1938, just after publication of his all-time bestseller Think and Grow Rich, NH reveals that he broke the devil's code, forcing him to confess his secrets. The resulting manuscript, Outwitting the Devil, proved so controversial it was hidden for over 70 years. So something of the fates, and I don't mean to bring up the fates too much, something hit it. Some higher power intentionally hid it, right? And it revealed it at its own accord and leisure. Sharon Letcher, ooh, that rhymes, Letcher. Sharon Letcher brings us this important book, annotating and editing it for a contemporary audience. Using his legendary ability to get to the root of human potential, Hill digs deep to identify the greatest obstacles we face in reaching our personal goals. So, for some reason, the knowledge was suppressed intentionally somehow, just for us to, squirm in the darkness for some different type of genetic potential, right? So individually we're squirming in the darkness, and now the human has an inkling to try to figure it out. Now we have the spiritual inkling and the drive to try to figure it all out if the darkness does not cloud us. But that's the thing, not everybody wants to figure it out because they're comfortable with their darkness, right? They're comfortable with their, them selling out to whatever fucking overlord they're selling out with. But people can't speak for everybody, and people can't speak for the youth, because there's youthful beings that are trying to figure it all out for the better so they can help themselves and the planet for real, beyond you fake ass fucking artificial, Silicon Valley startup fucking rhetoric fucking bullshit hype that doesn't have any exponential results with healing the world. Look at the world. It's just all fucking fat gas on that motherfucking shit. I'm from a different timeline. I'm from a different future. It just is what it is. To some degree, Silicon Valley, with the rhetoric intelligence of fixing the world, is fake as fuck. It just is what it is, and I don't give a fuck if y'all try to petty cancel me. I'm relaying this to a higher fucking intelligence. So y'all don't have the maximum authenticity. One, y'all fake with the fucking AI hype and the AI rhetoric, and two, the y'all don't know the spiritual foundation of this shit, and three, you want to fucking shit on the fucking reciprocation. So how dare you, motherfuckers? Hill digs deep to identify the greatest obstacles we face in reaching our personal goals, including fear, procrastination, anger, and jealousy. Okay, it's part of the human, as tools orchestrated by the devil himself. Okay, the devil, quote unquote, is using that just to fucking play some deep ass soul game, right? Some soul game of, could this human be fallen into jealousy, anger, procrastination, and fear, so he could be a soldier of my army and oppose, God's balance, because that's just the fucking game of it, right? On the mortal complex 3D game is just like, what's gonna fucking happen? Will the god win? Will, like, some type of, source god win, or some type of devil win on this crazy 3D platform? These, and some people are just sold out to some shit, and some other balance council is the referee of that shit. So it's like, even though some people are sold out to the devil, they can't entirely do the devil's bidding, because there's a different type of council referee inhibited within the paint of the battle and the war, right? The spiritual war. And then that spiritual war, and how people switch sides, they're loyal to one side, they switch sides, they're loyal to the sides, then all that fucking, Eastern shit is just a reflection of God and Devil's war, and how they're just an offspring of that shit. And how they could just fucking, change sides, and they don't know if they want to be a part of the balance, or they don't know if they're fucking all in with the devil. They're just on their mortal shit too, because we're from a different fucking future, motherfuckers. Do you see? I haven't been giving a fuck for 2017, and however I get stalled, it doesn't matter. I'm on a whole different ultra authenticity. The stupid ass spiritual rhetoric is be you, speak your truth. Motherfucker, I'm the one that fucking like started that shit, speak your truth. So, these hidden methods of control could lead us to ruin, and Hill reveals the seven principles of God, good, that will allow us to finally triumph over them and succeed. So there's seven principles of good, whatever good is, right? Good. The English language is like another. So look at fear, procrastination, anger, and jealousy. So the English language could be a part of procrastination. So that procrastination, it's so psychologically deeply embedded, how we could, quote unquote, within the hard program of the language, within the surface level mental programs, we could, quote unquote, stall ourselves unless certain predecessors tell us how we could undo certain programs of procrastination and certain programs of how the English language could diminish our own shit, and that just being a level of the game, right? Because the soul doesn't speak the English language. It speaks in frequencies, and it speaks in potential, and it speaks and it endures through the spiritual war. So that's what the fucking soul is doing. So I'm beyond this fucking yee shit. I'm beyond all that fucking on the intellectual spiritual platform. I'm beyond all this. We're just entertaining for the devil, and we sold out to the devil pretty much. And we're just gonna be totally fucking ignorant and fucking cognitive dissonant to the ironic spiritual foundation platform that's giving us a different potentiality energy to begin with. So do you see how you fucking like some of you fucking sold out beings are just like aloof and donk as fuck? Have the best life ever.